All right, continuing on. Lemongrass. I planted this initially just essentially as ground cover. I used to have a big deserty tree of some sort here. I'm trying to get rid of it, but it grows great. Very little water. You can't actually use the shoots, so you can put them in tea, you know, make soup and stuff like that out of them. But right now it's just a little protection for the avocado, which is behind it, and we'll see that when we go around the backside. This is a Waddell pear. So I got this from a local grower. It is a graft of a seedling from out in Waddell here, so west part of Arizona. I think it's a Bartlett, and it's actually done really, really well. So I think it's its second or third summer. It did fruit a little bit last summer. I got maybe 3 or 4. And the cool thing about these ones, even though they fruit spring like everything else, the fruit holds through until December. And then it gets ripe, which is cool because we have a winter ripening fruit around here, which is nice. Takes the full sun, absolutely no problem. I cut this thing, I think about here, so it's grown that much so far this spring. And it's fruit, looks nice, pretty fall leaves too, so you get the red and the oranges and stuff, which is nice. And then it's protection for what's behind it, which will be the avocado. An artichoke, this is its first year. I think it's supposed to be an Italian purple, but being the first year, the fruit wasn't big. I'm just gonna let it flower and yeah, be pretty, and then hopefully in the future we'll get artichokes, which we really like. Down here, all this little stuff, this is just ground cover, but it's sweet potatoes. So they're just little starts. I stuck them in there and they take off. And then in the late summer, fall, we dig them up and you can actually eat them. They haven't been as good as like a really good store-bought one, but you get quite a bit, and it's free and it's great ground cover. And you can eat all the greens too. You just saute them just really lightly and they taste good. They have kind of a nutty flavor to them. This one tree here is probably one of my favorite in the yard just because it's one of the more challenging. So it's a Fuerte avocado. It's 4 or 5 years old now. Initially had a center leader that was super bushy or lanky, and it didn't do anything for like 2 years. It just constantly falling over. And so I think it was about 2 years ago, give or take, I just lopped it off. And as soon as I did that, it just shot up this whole side thing here, which is now at least a couple inches in diameter. And it's really taken off, which has been fantastic. And right now it's super happy. So all of this growth, which is probably about 12 inches, give or take 10, 12 inches, has all happened over the last just couple of weeks. And especially these here, these are only a couple weeks old. So it's really filling in, big, beautiful leaves. It did flower this year, which is fantastic, which I think was its 5th year, maybe 5th spring anyways. And it seems to be doing good. I put the light 40% shade cloth over it last summer, and it seemed to like that pretty well. It does pretty well, except for a lot of wind seems to dry out the leaves a little bit. And that really hot, the 110 plus, it doesn't like. But it got through last summer without too much, and I will paint some of the tops and stuff on those guys. I'm gonna have to do that again, because like I said, this whole one here is brand new. So I already painted some of the others, and then it shot all this other stuff out. So I have to do that again, or I'll put on some spray, the Surround WP type of spray, and hopefully that'll protect it. So I'm really, fingers crossed, hoping this one produces fruit, because that would make me very happy. I'd love to get some avocados. So I've tried grafting and put a Mexicola on there, so we'll see if it takes. The little potted one is a fig, and that's a Black Mission. It came from a neighbor down the street, and it did pretty well. I'm just gonna leave it in the pot for now. It has a couple of small fruit, and it has one little bit bigger one, unless a bird got it. No, maybe right up here. It's not big, but it survived okay. It's kind of a shaded spot for a fig. It could probably take a little more sun, but being in a pot, I think that's pretty safe, at least for this summer. And then right behind that is a Barbados cherry. I've had that for probably at least 3 or 4 years now. It produced a lot. It had a lot of fruit a couple weeks ago. Then the birds found it, they cleared it out. There are more on it now that are just, small, but they're growing, little green guys. Not my family's favorite fruit. I'm the only one who kind of eats it, but they've gotten better over time. They've gotten a little bit sweeter. You just have to really let them get a dark red, almost purplish, and then they're actually good. But it's a coveted spot in the yard, and at some point I might plant something around it. It may go away. We'll see. This guy here is a Southern Blush Mango. about a year ago, I transplanted it from the grass because out there it got sunburn, it got frost burn, and it was not happy. So I stuck it in here. It is pushing out some new growth this year. It does have a small mango on it and a couple little tiny ones still holding. So we'll see what comes of that. It's kind of a shaded spot, but eventually if it makes it, it'll be able to get up into the sun, and I think we'll be good. The blue Java bananas behind it, I've had them for several years. I do get usually a couple bunches a year off of bananas. This one here actually came out last winter, maybe November, December. The leaves didn't make it through the winter, but the bunch is still here, and they're doing well. I don't know if they're really gonna mature correctly without having leaves on them. We're gonna find out, but I have no reason to cut them down. We're gonna leave them there, and hopefully they will. They have gotten a little bit bigger, so I think they'll be okay. Maybe sucking nutrients from the rest of the corm, you know, connected trees. Little avocado seedlings, sometimes they're on purpose, sometimes they're not. That one I don't remember if I stuck in there or not, but rootstock if nothing else. Yehuda loquat, so this is a few years old. This is, I think it's third summer. It did fruit the first year, and then it has not fruited the last two, but it's growing really well. It's put on a bunch of new growth. All this stuff from here where it's kind of brown and lignified up to the top, that's just from this year. So at some point I might pull it in a little bit just to keep the pathway and let it go up a little. But it's doing fairly well. I'm not covering it at all. This green mulberry is its second summer. Last year it was really small, but the purpose of this is primarily for shade. So as these things get more mature, they can take more sun. I will keep this somewhat in check. But between this and this tree up here, which is a desert one, someone told me it's a desert fern, I'm not positive. Drops a lot of little puffballs that are obnoxious, but in the summer it provides nice dappled shade for everything, including the papaya back there, which is a strawberry papaya, and it has quite a bit of fruit on it. And if you want to look at that, you're welcome to try to squeeze in there. I had 3 of those. One died in the cold, one died in the summer, probably from overwatering and root rot, and then this guy still made it. And I had some spider mites last year, and I didn't know if it was going to make it. They were just tearing it up, but I think I got them under control with some neem and some copper and just some sprays and whatnot. And it seems like it's doing all right, and it has some nice big fruit on it. The ones it was a seedling, so the one I got the seed from had really nice dark flesh, and I don't generally like papayas, especially not the yellowish Mexican style ones. But this one I really liked, and it's pretty and looks tropical and stuff. So hopefully it makes it. Yeah, nice. Down below, you can see over there, that's a green sapote. I love mame sapote. I've heard they're hard to grow here. I have not really tried, other than a little seedling that didn't make it. But this guy came out of Florida, and it made it through last summer, and it made it through the winter, you know, no protection at all. And it actually has 3 little sprouts, so it's branching out on the top. So I think it's gonna be okay, and I hope it does, because it's supposed to fruit faster and be a little hardier than the mame. And I love that type of, you know, sweet potato, pumpkin pie type of flavor. This is a Nam Dak Mai mango, and you can see all the little bags. So I put a bunch of grafts on it over the last month. Got most of them from a really nice guy I met online. And then this little one actually took as a southern blush, so it's only the mango over there, so that's probably the one I'm least excited about, and it took, of course. We'll see how the rest of them do. A little Brewster lychee. So it's this will be its second summer. It's done okay, but it did shoot up a bunch of growth. All this stuff here is brand new, and that came up over the last month or so. So we'll see. It's kind of one of those experimental, you know, tropical trees, but we love lychees. Valencia orange, I believe this was. There are a couple of ones in here that I planted, you know, 10, 12 years ago, and I wasn't really keeping track of stuff. We don't really love this tree. Right now, it's basically shade. We eat some of the fruit. Kind of hard to peel, but if you cut it open, it's okay. Just some avocados we got. We're just going to try them in big pots for this summer. They all have their own watering system. Everything back here is automated, so there isn't really much for me to do. This is a Giambo persimmon, and this will be its first summer. So it woke up after the winter, and it has been growing. It's pretty shaded. I think it'll do okay over the summer. We'll see, you know, about fruiting in the future. A seedling loquat. So just something we ate, stuck the seed in. It's doing fine. We'll see what comes of it. If they are no good, maybe we'll try to graft something on it. But again, it's on the east side, so I have the shade up here. Really, it's just morning sun. And as the big mulberry gets larger, then it might not even need this in the future, which would be fantastic. Peanut butter tree. So that one's at least 4 years old. It had again, a tall central leader that just never did very well. So I lopped that off. Now it's gotten more bushy. Little flies on it seem to kind of like to pollinate it. We haven't gotten a lot of fruit, just a little bit. It did actually taste good. You know, it's an I don't know, a novelty tree. It's not much food, but some little seedlings down in there, which the only thing really interesting about those is they're actually seedlings out of Costa Rica, and they are caimito, so they're star fruit. So there's a yellow one in the front, the background is a purple one, and I have a couple others just in pots as well. So a little bit of an experimental thing, but we really liked the fruit when we ate it, and so we're just gonna see if it grows. It should be pretty tasty, hopefully. So more blackberries, same type as the front. So this one I cut way down in the winter, and just to see like what growth pattern would produce the most fruit, because they're a primocane type of blackberry, so they grow on the first year's growth. And the lesson we've learned is be like that one and don't cut them all the way back, because it just takes a much longer. That one's been producing for a couple weeks already. This one I've gotten maybe 2 off of it. So just let them get bushy, maybe control the size a little bit, but yeah, don't cut them all the way back. Volunteer tomato, bird helped one there. And then just some other random one. This is the black crim. I've never grown this before, but it's an heirloom and it's doing really well. It has a lot of fruit on there. And hopefully we'll get some good tomatoes here soon. That little heat wave we had, that 104, 105 a couple weeks back, you know, kind of slowed some of these things down, and I had to put some shade cloth up. But now they're growing again. And this one I'm not seeing a lot of flowers, but there's still some flowers on the other guys over here. So blueberry. So this is one we just put in this spring. Experimental, keeping it in the pot, control the acidity. It's growing fine now, but it's, you know, it's been really babied and everything. A boysenberry, so blackberry, raspberry hybrid. Little thorns on it, but not too bad, unlike that Primark, which has no thorns, which is fantastic. And so yeah, we'll just see how that goes. Again, we're just gonna keep it in pots, and it's got watering, so you know, if it makes it, it makes it. This is a Kent mango seedling. So that guy is probably, well, let's see. I think I have a little tag on this guy. Let's see, what is it? So it's about 3 years old. This is its 3rd spring. Has done really well. Maybe being a seedling, or maybe the location hasn't needed really any protection at all, which is great. And I'm just starting to put a few grafts on it, and we'll see how those go. And then, you know, this is another seedling there. There's one right down in front of you there also. And so we're just grafting them, and we're just gonna see what it takes. And if they take well, maybe we'll find a spot in the ground for them. The big tree above us is an ash, an Arizona ash. So beautiful fall color, but a lot of sprouts. You're always pulling these suckers up. So that's what that is. I'll pull it up in the winter and I'll give it away, or I'll sell it or something like that. Behind it though is a Kahala Longan. It is the second one I put in here. The first one didn't make it, I don't know why. This one seems to be doing much better. It's got some nice new growth. It had a bunch of flowers. I stripped most of them off, but there's still a couple little fruits on there. And I don't know if you'll be able to see those at some point. You can zoom in if you want, but hopefully it'll make it. We like those, a little more hardy than the lychees. So that's the idea of keeping them around. Seedling peach. I think it came off of the desert gold out there based on the flowers. And it's just an experiment. So a lot of that's how this is. This is another green, white sapote, another seedling. So I have a number of those around, just stuck in pots, and we're gonna see how they do. And a Talfo mango. Yeah, same thing. Let it grow in ground, see how it does. Maybe we'll graft onto it. If the good fruit's good, we'll just leave it. Some more avocados and random things back there's a little oak tree my daughter brought back from camping, and it sprouted, so I guess we're keeping it. Coconut cream mango. This is another one. This is like at least the 3rd tree in my yard that had a big central leader, floppy as all get out for at least 2 years maybe. And I cut it off, and then it starts pushing off growth. So very strange growth pattern on this guy. Very goofy, floppy. I don't know. It's a strange tree. If nothing else, I'm going to use it as root or grafting material for scions to put on the other ones. But best case scenario, hopefully these will get strong and more woody, and then maybe it'll grow and it'll do okay. It made it through last summer fine, and it is getting new growth now. So Obviously more tomatoes, early girls, there's some beef steaks in there. They're doing fine. You know, I don't do a lot in it, but this is also sometimes in the winter I turn it into a greenhouse. I'll put all my seedlings and stuff. So a little better example of the Primark Freedom, the blackberries. It's got a bunch on it right now. I had to cover it. The birds were starting to get to it, and they will go crazy. It's a good blackberry. They start off pretty tart, but if you let them get the little bulbs on here, the little seeds, whatever these things are called, you let them get big, they're really good, and they'll get really sweet, and they have a little bit of tartness to them, which is great. But you have to let them ripen enough, otherwise they're too sour. Eureka lemon. This is one I first put in here. It grows out of control. I cut this thing back so much, hundreds and hundreds of fruit. You can actually see on the ground. I cleaned these up this morning. I juiced 30 cups of juice 2 nights ago and froze it so we can make, you know, slushies over the summer and stuff. I try to sell some of them at the farmer's market and in my shop, and it's just too much. So as the other things around it grow, I will cut it back some. It's just too many lemons. Avocado seedling. These little guys here are a purple orchid tree, and I started some of these from seeds, and they're just really pretty flowers, and so I don't know what we're gonna do with them. We'll find maybe 1 or 2 in the yard and, you know, sell or give away the rest. A little seedling longan. It's been in there, it's probably 2 years old, super slow growing. It does okay, it puts out a few flowers every couple of months, or not flowers, leaves, and it's just hanging out. So I don't know, we'll see, you know, if it makes it, it makes it. No loss. And this is a Pakistan mulberry, so a black one. This is actually an air layer from the tree in the front. It's much bigger than that one, but this one I want more for shade back here. So in the winter, again, I cut it back and I shape it some. In the summer, it's gonna be more protection for, you know, the mangoes on this side, my daughter's little tree house, but she's getting big for that anyway. So at some point it's going away and there's more trees going in there. This is a dwarf Namwa banana. So I traded some guy for this one here. It's been in there for I think about a year, so I made it through winter and last summer. There's no protection. I haven't gotten any pups off or anything off. Yes, it's slower growing by far than the blue Javas. But everyone tells me they actually produce better here, and hopefully the fruit's really good. So if I get some pups, I'll put them other places. This was just a protected spot under the bottle tree. And then below it too are a couple of those little purple orchid trees. So if they really take off, this tree we have a love-hate thing for. It drops a lot of seed pods, a lot of branches. Every summer at some point it gets pretty scorched. So I don't know if we'll keep it forever, but for now it does okay, and it's protection for the things around it. So, you know, we have a truce. This and the next one will be my oldest grapevines, and they're probably about maybe 10, 12 years old. It's supposed to be a Thompson seedless, which stays green. This one actually blushes a little bit towards the end, so I'm not sure what I actually got, but it produces quite a lot. We just put this little trellis so they hang a little better on here. It produces a lot of fruit. They don't typically get huge. This year I actually tried to cut them back. I cut like half of most of the bunches off just to focus more of the energy, and I trimmed a lot off, but it just keeps putting on more. So, you know, I don't know. I'm gonna have to maybe get a little heavier on the thinning here at some point, but it does great in the summer. Heat doesn't bother it. The only thing you have to fight with these guys are the grape leaf skeletonizers. Those little buggers, little caterpillars get on there and they will just tear it up, and it looks terrible, but it comes back and it'll be fine. All right, so this is a spicy nectar plum. Got it from another local grower who's just down the street from me over here. He's a great guy, good rootstock, but this is the second one I've had. The first one I had in a different location. We got a lot of monsoon one year. I was out of town. I also had watering. I didn't overwater it essentially and killed it. I hear a lot of good things about this fruit. I have not tried one because it has not been very productive. There's only 1 or 2 even on here if I can find them. And they're just little tiny wee guys on there. So I'm hoping it's just slower to produce. There's a plum on the other side. We'll see. That one also has been very slow to produce, even though it's like 4 or 5 years old. So I'm hoping it's maybe just the plum heritage is keeping it slow, but I trimmed it way back. It has grown a ton. All of this growth from here up, including that huge one over there, is all this spring. when they first come out, everything is just purple. It's like a dark, beautiful purple. So it's really ornamental, which is why I kind of put it in the backyard. Supposedly the fruit is amazing. I have not tried it yet. I have 2 wonderful pomegranates here. I think these are about maybe going on 4 years old, maybe, yeah, something like that, maybe 5th summer. They grow really well. You got to battle the leaf-footed bugs. Those little things are a nightmare. So I'm gonna have to stick organza bags over these. It produced quite a lot this last summer. I actually didn't even eat all of it because some were great, some were not, you know, but that was the first year in, probably, like I said, 3 or 4 years that it was actually edible fruit. The intention for these is to let them grow up to more of a tree. So I want to get them up to probably 12 feet high, give or take. And then I want to try to connect them so it's essentially a big archway of pomegranates as trees. And then we'll see. So, you know, productive. I love pomegranates. They do grow some kind of cool ones. You got to thin them out. I haven't done so yet, but they'll just pile them on there. You know, I don't even know what that is, but you know, there's 4 of them, so they're quads. Right behind you, we have a tiger panache. So this is the same age as the Peter's honey and the other panache in the front yard. This one is where the southern blush mango was until this time last year when I transplanted them. This one really likes it here. If you look in there at all, there is just out of control fruit production. Really, really insane. So I've never grown these before. I don't know if I should thin them out, but I'm just gonna kind of let them go this year and we'll see how they do and if they get big. But it's a pretty tree, I like it. My oldest fig tree, so this one's at least probably 5 years old. I trim it extensively down every winter, so it's getting wider but not crazy tall. Pretty much all the fruit comes on the new growth, and as you can see, it's got a lot on here. It's a yellow fig, and they get pretty large. So like if you look in here, you know, these guys are getting to a decent size, and it's almost like eating sweet foam. They're almost too sweet. They don't have a ton of like depth to the flavor of them, but we discovered last year I made jam out of them and they were phenomenal. It was the best thing. So I think we'll be doing a lot of that with this, and I will have to cover it here at some point because as soon as they start getting a little bit soft, the birds will get on them, and then then we're not going to be happy. Tiny little avocado seedling behind it. Just pretty sheltered spot, let it go. I'm not gonna shade it. I didn't cover it in the winter. We're just gonna see what happens with that guy. This grape is the same age as the Thompson. It's a red flame. It has never produced a lot. I did transplant it about 4 years ago from the east side of the yard. It never did very well. Over here, it is producing more fruit. They look different. They're more of an oblong shape, and actually some of them weren't ripe until about August, whereas the Thompson are like July-ish, June, July. I just redid the watering system this last winter, so it has its dedicated heavier watering this year, and it seems to be happier. So I'm hoping that is it. It could take full sun. This Chinese pistache tree does shade it a lot in the summer. I don't know if that's going to be a detriment to the actual fruit growth and production, but it's doing all right as is. If it doesn't produce well at some point here, I might use that trellis for something like dragon fruit or something interesting. This whole side of the yard over here, this was all grass. So this spring I tore it out. I put this little cement berm on here, which is mimicking one on the other side. So we have a little bit of grass. We have kids, they like the bounce house, a little bit for the dogs. The grass hasn't come in, it looks terrible, but we got rid of all that and just put these wood chips down. So the idea here is keep it a little bit cooler, less water, and hopefully look okay too. So it has a little underlayment under it because there's going to be some Bermuda grass, so we're going to probably fight that for a year or two, and as soon as that's gone, then I'll pull out that underlayment and then just let it be more of dirt growth. And apple. So this one's been here for a number of years, probably 4 years, and it does produce a lot of fruit. I thinned a lot. Maybe I should have thinned more of them. Beautiful flowers in the spring. Oh, you know, the apples, they're pretty good. Last year was the first year we got, you know, a decent amount of them. Kind of a tart. I find I have to pick them a little early for bird pressure, and also usually I do fish in Alaska, so a lot of times I have to leave before they're maybe quite at their peak ripeness. But if I let them go too long, I discovered that they will get kind of mealy. So I prefer they were tart and a little firm than like mealy and sweet. but it grows well. There's a little apple tree next to it we can take a look at. This is a tropic sweet. I think it was developed in Florida. I got it from a local grower. It produced some fruit last year. Very, very hard but sweet apples. This year produced nothing and basically didn't even go dormant. So chill hour thing, it's supposed to be very low chill hour. I don't know what the deal is. It wasn't a very happy tree last year. I took some grafts, put them on this one, they all took. So there's 3 of those grafts on here. This tree may not be here forever because you produce or that's it. Tangelo tree. It's been here for a few years, produced some fruit last year, tons of flowers this year, they all fell off. I don't know if that was lack of pollination. I have not been very impressed. Our old house, we had a Tangelo, we loved the fruit. I don't know what's going on with this Mineola, but hopefully it gets better. Yeah, we'll see. It's healthier now than it used to be. Another grapevine. So these ones are actually a Tom Cord. So it's a Thompson Concord hybrid. This is only its 2nd summer. They are by far the biggest fruit. So I'm very hopeful for this one. I have another one in a pot, and if they do well, I will probably plant that somewhere and maybe replace a different one. It's actually starting to change a little bit. You can kind of see the color on there. So they do get purple. They're supposed to be seedless. I had a few last year, but not too many. So this year will be the actual real test for them. But again, you know, they do well here in the heat and they don't care. Lemongrass, just ornamental, you know. Oleanders, kind of messy. People go on and on about them being poisonous. We've had dogs and kids, no one's died. The best thing about this is it's on the west side of the house, so that all that super hot afternoon sun is completely blocked. So it's nice for the pool because we're not getting cooked out there, and it protects these trees. Most of these are actually fairly hardy to the sun, but that helps. This is a Campbell white sapote, and this is actually it's 2nd spring, and it's grown a lot. It has grown from right down here to here just this spring, and it's really, really taken off. It's kind of a little bit of a floppy tree. I have a friend who has a different variety, and same thing, his just falls over. So I'm really having to kind of guide it and tie it until it gets firmer. And then, you know, some of these goofy lower branches at some point I'll probably use to graft onto the potted ones if they make it. This little guy right here is a Mexican guava. It's supposed to have been a Mexican cream. However, after the fact, we noticed a little label on the bottom said Mexican pink. So I don't really know exactly what we got, but we have 2 guavas. The other one is a tropic pink. I'll show you in a second. That one's good. I hope this one was different or maybe fruited at a different time of the year or something. I don't know, but it's doing pretty well. It's not as full as I would like, but it is flowering, and it made it through the last summer and the 2 winters, and it's been good. Santa Rosa plum. This is another one that was kind of a thing that my mother used to talk about in Northern California when she was a kid, picking the plums and apricots and stuff. So I kind of planted for that. Showy flowers, everything is weeping. So in the spring, it's just covered in white flowers, more so each year. Did not produce a lot of fruit. So you can see there's a few on here. I see all types of things from these things being, you know, a couple hundred chill hours to 500 chill hours. I don't really know what the honest truth is, but it has produced a couple fruit last year, has a few on here this year. For now, I'm gonna keep it. I like how it looks, but I do want fruit and I only have so much space. So if it doesn't produce, it may not stay forever. So produced, I like how it looks. The next guy will be a tropic pink guava. So it's been here for probably, maybe it's its 4th summer. It is producing some flowers, you can kind of see on there. No real fruit for the first 2 years, so I think last year was probably its 3rd summer. Produced a lot of fruit. It gets ripe in August, and they get fairly large, kind of an oval shape, pink inside, pretty strong guava flavor, medium sweetness, not super, super sweet, but they seem to get better every year, and that's how most of the fruit trees seem to be. You know, you have to be a little patient with them. But it takes the summer fine. It's doing some leaf cycling right now. It's just last of the old growth is coming off, and it's pushing a lot of new stuff. So it does pretty well. Mostly it's just keeping it under control for the shape. And yeah, I guess we'll keep going forward with that. The next one is not even a fruit tree. It's kind of the end of this side here. So this is just another Arizona ash. Came from the one over there. It's pretty much here for shade. At some point, maybe we'll plant stuff around the bottom of it, but it's just a, you know, an ornamental. All right, well, thanks for visiting. I hope you got something, appreciated the yard. It's amazing to me what you can grow here. When I first started, everyone said you could just grow citrus, and a few years back we found out you can grow just amazing variety of stuff. So I would encourage you to get started and try it, and yeah, enjoy your Arizona summer.